Hello Stampers, Michelle Zindorf here. Thanks for joining me today. I have a quick card here for you. Well, it's pretty quick, and we're going to be doing this in strips, which is kind of unusual, but it's fun to do. And we're going to be focusing on the Scenic Adventure stamp set from Stampin' Up. This is an online exclusive, so be sure to pick it up as soon as you can if it's something that you want to get. We never know when the exclusives are going to go out, so they're only available online. This is not in the catalog. I'll have a link to it in the description down below this video, along with the sizes of the panels I'm using and all the other products that I'm using. We'll have links to those. You can bundle this up and pick up the coordinating die set. I'm not using it today, but it is a wonderful die set that you can pick up. And when you get the two together, you save 10%. There are mountains in here, the trees, tree lines, bushes, flowers. You have your water here. Really nice die set. So this is called the Scenic Adventure dies. So pick those up when you pick the stamp set up so you have it all. And without further ado, here we go. We're going to start with our strips of paper to start our main panel here. And I have 3 strips. Now, I started out by cutting 3 strips that were 5 1/4 by 1 1/2 inches. And I left one that size. The next one I cut just a 1/2 inch off of the top. And the next one I cut 1 inch off the top. So we have 3 different sizes here. And we're going to kind of put these together like this so that our backgrounds match up. So when we put them on the card, see how our background matches up along all 3. We have our light green here and our darker greens, and then in our background we have some gray going on and some blue. So I did it this way just so those strips, when you put them on the card, they match up with the backgrounds. Make sense? Clear as mud? Here we go. Let's start with our cloud cover. Now that's the color of these panels. This is a new ink color. Now there was a little snafu with Stampin' Up's ink pad for this color, and it didn't like the ink pads that it was put on. It actually had a little change in color, and Stampin' Up wouldn't release it. So you can buy just the empty ink dots if you want this color, or you can pick another color to use instead of that blue. Use another blue. So I put this on one of these Stampin' spots. You can pick up a pack. They come in pack of 5 and they're uninked. And so just pick up the re-inker, one of those, and you have that color in an ink pad. So we're going to start with that in a blending brush. And we're going to cover like the bottom third. So I'm going to try to hold these and put this color in here. I didn't have a large blending brush to do this with. That didn't have a color on it. I wanted it to be this nice pure cloudy blue. So there we have that. And see how that goes just straight across there. I love this color. Whoop. Okay, so there's cloudy blue. There is cloud cover. I keep on wanting to call it cloudy blue. Cloud cover. All right, so we got that on there. Now, let's put some gray in the background. I'm going to do some Smoky Slate. And that's going to be for our sky. And when I put it on here, I'm going to leave some white showing in between. And that white, when you put another color at the top of it and have a color at the bottom, it starts looking like you have some mist in the background. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's why I'm using this gray here up in the sky. So this is like a misty day. So I'm starting that gray up here. Just going to work it across. And like our bottom, we want all these panels to kind of, the gray to just be in the same places in those panels all the way across. See that white showing up now since we put that gray at the top? Just beautiful. All right, so we got that in. So now let's do a little stamping. And I'm going to bring in that cloud cover, little ink spot I have. And my stamp here. We'll add this cloud cover on here. Give it a look. Okay. Making that up with my ink spot. And I'm going to put these trees not quite to the top of the panel here, and I'm going to have them going off the cardstock on the left and the right. And I'm using the smallest piece here. There's one. Now that looks really dark, but you know what? It's going to dry much lighter. So we got one on the right. And I'm going to bring this one down just a bit. There we go. One on the left. And then I'm going to ink this up with Mossy Meadow. And we will put one nice dark tree in the middle. And I'm just putting it to where there's probably about 1/4 of an inch from the ground. There we go. Here's our trees. So we have 3 trees going. Okay, so now I want just a little bit of that Mossy Meadow at the bottom for our ground. And I'm going to put these together again, because here we go. We want a matchy-matchy here. So things look the same going across. And I'm going to add some of that to the bottom and all the way across. And I'm going to get really dark at the very bottom of these panels. There we go, little contrast there. And that is our scene, all done. So we have those finished. Aren't they pretty? We have those, and I'm going to set them aside. I'm going to grab my, this is a Smoky Slate panel that I'm going to put inside my card. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to use Mossy Meadow for this, and I'm going to stamp our sentiment. And I wanted to stamp "You're amazing" in this card, but this could be happy birthday, thinking of you. You know, these scenic cards can be used for a million different occasions. So I'm going to add this in here. And I'm stamping this before I stick it in my card. That way if I mess up, I can have another chance at it, and I can just flip it over and stamp on the back side. I don't have to cut another piece of paper because I stamped crooked. Okay, so there is our stamping all done. Now I'm going to flip my scrap paper over here. I don't want any of that ink on my cloud cover panels that I'm going to be putting together here. Okay, so I have my main card base here, and this is cloud cover, and it's 5.5 by 8.5. I folded it in half to create my quarter card, and I'm going to add this panel on the inside, the Smoky Slate panel, and I'm going to use multi-purpose glue here. This is my favorite to work with. I know a lot of people like tape runners. I like this glue mainly because I can move my panel around for a few seconds if I don't get it in the right place. Let's add some love in there. So you can slide it around if you don't stick it right where you intended it to be. So there's our inside of our card. We have that all done. Now we're going to take our cloud cover panel. It's 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to run it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We have this new great folder. This is called the Mini Corrugated 3D Embossing folder. And when I ran it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, I turned it this way so the Stampin' Up logo is over here on the side. And then I put my panel in. So I have my corrugation going up and down instead of sideways. So I have that all done, and this is what I'm going to stick my little main panels on. Now I'm going to start just adhering these on. I'm going to put the first one on. That's the longest one. Just going to put some glue on, and I'm going to put quite a bit of glue going back and forth like this so that it makes contact with our corrugated panels here. And I'm going to come over, and I'm going to have this a little more than halfway over here to the right a bit. It's kind of nice. You got this corrugation that you can line your little panels up with. There's our first one. And then we're going to add our second to the longest one. Again, quite a bit of glue. I don't mean like real thick lines, thin lines, but lots of thin lines. Like that. And this is going to overlap a bit, but they're all going to come up to the top of the card. Here, right there. There's our second one. Give it a look. I think this looks pretty straight. See how that color matches going across there? I love that. So this is our last one. And when I put this on, I'm not going to center it in between the two. I'm going to have a little bit over to the right. So let's add this on. This one you don't need as much glue because it is not going on that textured background that the other two panels were attached to. Let's give it a look, have it be straight. There we go. Love that. Okay, so now we need some ribbon on here. And I'm using the cloud cover ribbon. This is new ribbon, of course. The new ink color. How could you not have the ink pad? I'm so glad that I was able to do that, put that on the ink spot. So I have a pad for that cloud cover because it is my favorite of the ink colors. I love this, it's a cool gray, grayish blue. Really pretty. Okay, so I cut a piece of ribbon, I flipped it over, and I'm going to attach the ends to the back of this panel, and I'm going to use mini glue dots for this. And put your glue dot on there, make sure you really press that ribbon into it so it stays well. I find I only need one glue dot per side here. And I have this fairly up to the top. I mean, I just have like 1/8 of an inch there showing above this ribbon. It's because I want my trees to be showing there. So I got that on there. Now let's add this to our card base. And we're just going to center this up on the card. And again, I'm going to add some glue here, and I'm trying to hit the peaks of that texture. And you can squiggle it down because we want it to stick to that card base well. And then I'm going to add some going across this way. Just don't want it to come up because that texture. Okay, So I have it on there. Now I'm just going to flip this over and I'm going to give it a good rub on the back side so the front has good contact with that glue for a minute. And that's that. Okay, so let's cut another little piece of ribbon, and this is just for a little tie at the top. And I always cut just a little more than necessary because I don't like fiddling trying to create a tie with a teeny tiny piece of ribbon. That's just me though. Okay, so I put it on here and then I kind of made sure that my little legs were going the right direction the way I wanted them to, and then I'll pull it tight. So there is that. I'm going to trim my little legs of my ribbon here. There we go. And if you don't like the way they're laying, if they lay really funny or something, just put a glue dot behind each little leg and tack it down. This ribbon's behaving really well. It's really nice ribbon. All right, so we have that done. And guess what? Our card is finished. So there is our card. You're amazing. This could be so many different things. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. Take care. Toodles.